All right, so you ready to dive in? Looks like we've got a bunch of stuff about the IELTS exam.
Yeah, definitely looks like a lot on choosing between paper-based and computer-based formats.
Yeah, and it's a big decision, right? And that it could really impact how you feel on test day. So
For sure.
we're going to try to break it all down for you.
Yeah.
Really look at the differences, the pros and cons of each format so you can figure out which one's best for you.
Absolutely. And it's important to remember that regardless of which format you choose, the IELTS exam itself is the same.
Right.
The skills they're testing, listening, reading, writing, speaking,
Mhm.
the recognition you get from taking it, the scoring, all of that stays consistent.
Exactly.
And just to clarify, the speaking test is always going to be face-to-face with an examiner.
Okay, so let's start with the good old-fashioned paper-based IELTS.
All right?
So how does that work? You walk in, you get a question booklet,
Yep.
and you get a separate answer sheet.
Right.
So you've got to transfer all your answers over to that sheet, and you've got to do it within the time limit.
Yeah, and for the writing section, it's all handwritten.
Oh, yeah. Got to make sure your handwriting's legible.
Exactly. So this is where we start to think about who might actually prefer this format.
Okay, yeah, who thrives with paper?
Right. So if you're someone who is super comfortable with handwriting, I mean, you can write neatly and legibly without even thinking about it,
Yeah,
then paper-based might just feel really natural for you.
makes sense.
And also, if you don't have a lot of experience typing, or if you find it really hard to make corrections on a computer,
Yeah,
then sticking with pen and paper could actually be a real advantage.
totally. I mean,
Uh-huh.
some people really like to underline stuff in the reading passages or jot down notes.
Absolutely, you can really annotate the text.
Right, yeah. So the paper-based tests let you do all that,
Mm-hmm.
but of course you got to make sure your handwriting is clear.
Oh, yeah, definitely no points for illegible answers.
And you got to manage your time wisely, right?
Yeah,
Because transferring those answers takes time.
absolutely can't be rushing at the end.
All right, so let's switch gears and talk about the computer-based IELTS.
Okay, so in this format, the listening, reading, and writing sections are all done on a computer.
Makes sense.
And for the writing section, of course, you'll be typing your responses.
Which for some people is probably way faster.
Oh, yeah, especially if you're used to working on a computer all the time.
Right, and you can easily navigate between questions.
Absolutely.
Go back, review your answers.
Much easier to make changes.
And usually there's a timer right there on the screen.
Right there, so you can really keep track of your time.
Okay, so it sounds like this format's really good for people who can type quickly and accurately.
For sure, if you're comfortable with a keyboard, this is probably going to feel much more efficient.
Right, and some people just prefer reading on a screen anyway.
Yeah, you can adjust the font size, you can scroll, you can zoom in if you need to.
So much more flexible.
And there's one more big advantage for some people, faster results.
Oh, yeah. How fast are we talking?
Usually you get your scores back in 3 to 5 days.
Wow, that's a lot faster than the paper-based test.
Yeah, for paper-based, it can take up to 13 days.
So if you're in a hurry, that could be a huge factor in your decision.
Absolutely.
But I'm also thinking about some of the stuff we read about eye strain.
Yeah, that's a valid concern,
Staring at a screen for that long can be tiring.
especially if you're not used to it.
So that's something to consider.
Definitely.
Okay, so we've looked at both formats in detail.
Yep.
Now it's time to think about which one might be better for you.
Right, so the first question is, are you a better typer or a better handwriter?
Yeah, which one are you more comfortable with? And which one helps you get your ideas out faster?
And then think about your reading habits. Do you prefer having a physical book or a document in your hands?
Yeah. Or are you more comfortable reading and navigating on a screen?
It really comes down to your learning style.
And it's not just about comfort either, right?
No, definitely not.
Sometimes those faster results from the computer-based test are essential.
Especially if you have a deadline coming up.
Right, but you also got to check what's available at your local test center.
Yeah, because not all centers offer both formats.
And I think this is super important.
Hmm.
Practice in the format that you choose.
Oh, absolutely. That's crucial.
Get familiar with the interface, the timing, everything.
Yep. Practice under test-like conditions.
Okay, so just to recap, both formats are designed to assess your English skills in the same way.
Exactly.
The best choice really depends on your personal preferences, your typing skills.
And your comfort level with computers.
Right. So as you continue preparing for the IELTS, here's something to think about.
Okay.
Which format do you think will really let you shine?
That's the key question.
Which one will help you minimize stress and focus on the content?
So you can show off your English skills to the fullest.
Right, because ultimately that's what matters.
Absolutely.
All right, well, we've reached the end of our deep dive.
Thanks for joining us.
We hope this has been helpful for you as you prepare for the IELTS exam. Good luck.
Good luck.